Hey guys, what is going on? Today we are going to be talking about all of the mid-season update content we can expect in Season 1. Now, there isn't really a lot to talk about here today, which is a little unfortunate, so we're going to go into more detail than we normally do. If you are interested in seeing all of the mid-season update stuff for Season 1, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. We are still looking for 6,000 subscribers. Yeah, this is the first video that we are going to be making in the new year, so Happy New Year to all of you out there. So, the first thing I actually wanted to take a look at is probably what I am most anticipating here in the Season 1 mid-season update, and that is the new SMG that we can take a look at, and that is the Welgun. Now, we have seen Welguns in previous Call of Duty games, and they have been fairly good from what I can remember. I believe it is some kind of like grease gun thing as well, which again, we did see in COD World War II as one of the most popular SMGs going around. Now, we did actually see this weapon in COD World War II, as I believe we mentioned already, but the grease gun definitely was an interesting weapon in that game. Didn't apparently have the fastest TTK value, but I believe when they did start adding weapon variants and stuff like that in that game, like I believe you could get the weapons in the boxes, like in the little campy thing, the headquarters, you know what I'm talking about. You could get different variants of this, and I believe it ended up being pretty good. From what I remember from that game, it ended up being a fairly low firing weapon. It's quite slow, but I think I've seen it quite fast in other games. So it could be sort of a middling sort of fire rate SMG, which could be fairly interesting here. But again, if it was one of those ones that did shoot quite fast, I'd also appreciate that too. The description in-game from World War II was actually an automatic SMG with low recoil and a steady fire rate, and that is probably what we can expect here today. Once we are kitting these things with attachments and stuff like that, I believe we're going to get a very good gun in this game. I reckon it's going to be a fairly hard-hitting SMG, probably around like a 4 to 5 shot kill at first. Once you start unlocking these different attachments for this thing, I think it's probably going to be pushed to either a 3-shot kill or a 4-shot kill, then you throw in a headshot, you get that 3-shot kill. But I do think this thing could be one of the better guns in the game, especially once you do unlock some of the later attachments. Now, with SMGs, of course, we do expect that sort of mobility, that handling stat, you know, all these good things that we do love about SMGs. But again, I would expect probably to have a fairly decent hip fire, a fairly relatively sort of middling fire rate on this thing. Very accurate weapon with pretty low recoil, especially when you do sort of get those attachments, your underbarrels and your barrel attachments and stuff like that. Maybe even a magazine attachment that does sort of increase the fire rate and maybe decrease the damage, or increase the damage, decrease the fire rate slightly. It's one of those weapons where I could see a lot of different things happening. I expect to see something like an extended mag on this thing, taking it to like 45 rounds, and again, that could deal extra damage as well. So again, this could be an SMG that we'd be very excited about, another meta tier weapon that we could especially... I'd love to see this be good, man, because the weapons that we did get in the Season 1 update, of course, that being the Cooper Carbine, one of the best guns in the game, and the Gorenko anti-tank rifle, which I think is fun, but it's definitely a little bit slower, like in terms of that aim down sights, but it's not my kind of sniper. When I do get a sniper, I usually like to just sort of quick scope and do those other things. And when you do have the Gorenko anti-tank rifle, you can sort of drop off that sniper scope and then turn it into a little bit of like a marksman rifle, which is actually pretty fun. You might end up making a class setup on that fairly soon. But again, I feel like the grease gun does kind of need to be good. We do need another weapon in Season 1 to be very powerful here. And for what it's worth, I also do expect the grease gun to be quite good at range, being able to sort of punch through those bullets and get that damage on target as hard as possible from about 25-30 meters away. Similar to something that we do see with like a Type 100 or something like that, just slightly slower firing. Now, is there any new map content coming in the mid-season update? I'm not 100% sure. I actually think there will be. Now, usually as we have seen previously, like we saw the roadmap before when they did announce the Season 1 update, and we did know that we were getting Paradise as well as Radar, which is of course Dome, which is just one of my favorite maps in this game. But again, I feel like when we did see previous updates in Cold War and Modern Warfare, I feel like in these mid-season updates, sometimes they just included an extra map. I feel like with this particular update, just because it was released sort of around Christmas time, that sort of area, people buying the game and like getting it for Christmas, all these Christmas noobs running around, I feel like we could just see an extra map just get pushed in the mid-season update. I feel like that would be a cool addition to the game. Again, I don't have anything off the top of my head that I would absolutely love to see. Like I've been saying we want to hit Dome, and then they just released Radar. I've been saying that for like literally 4.5, 5 games. And like I've been saying this for a long time that I want to see Dome come back. They re-released it in Radar. Very exciting stuff. So if you do have any sort of idea about what maps we could see return, or even something from maybe the Caldera map, I know that map does actually contain a number of different locations from the area that we are probably going to see different maps and stuff. So if you do see something on the Caldera map that you think would make a good fit in Vanguard, make sure you do leave a comment letting me know what it would be. I'm not really 100% sure exactly what I do want to see in something like another map that we could get, but again, let me know if you do have any ideas. I wouldn't mind seeing another map get remade, but again, another map that is absolutely original. I do actually think Paradise is quite a cool map. you just don't want to play it on 6v6 because it is too large to just have like 6v6 on it. Like 8v8 still a little small, but 12v12, I think it's a fun map. I think it's not too bad. We might end up making a map guide on that very soon as well. In terms of weapon balance changes, there is a number of different things that I would love to see get hit, man. We did already see the MP40 get changed somewhere along the line. I'm not 100% sure exactly when that did happen. It didn't get the 2-shot kill anymore. That's a fantastic change that did make a little while ago, but again, I can't exactly pinpoint when that happened. And there is a number of weapons that are in this game that you look at and go, yeah, that's pretty powerful. But for the most part, things are pretty well balanced here. Maybe I'd like to see some weapon buffs rather than some nerfs, because I don't think there's too much. I don't really think that there's too much that's sort of very, very obviously too strong. There's stuff like your Type 100 in the SMG category that is very much better than the rest of them. But again, the sort of middle clump is actually like really, really good in terms of the SMGs. Like, they're fairly well balanced. I'd probably like to see the Sten get a little bit of a buff here, maybe increasing its damage or something like that. Maybe some stats that sort of affect like the mobility, movement speed, stuff like that. Maybe you run a little bit faster when you are hitting that tack sprint because of the disadvantage of having to have the gun be on half of your screen. Maybe that could be a little bit of an advantage there. We could maybe see a little bit of an increase to the fire on the Owen gun, just because when you are using that thing again, you are disadvantaged on the right-hand side of your screen. It does sometimes feel like you are playing with an eye patch over your screen. So maybe a little bit of an increase to the fire rate to that thing, maybe a little bit of a decrease to the recoil, get that thing hitting as hard as possible. In terms of the SMGs, I think the Cooper Carbine and the Automaton are easily the best guns in the game. And again, maybe they could just get brought back into line a little bit, maybe add a little bit of recoil here and there. It's a little bit difficult. They could target specific attachments with this thing, but that usually leads to sort of shifting to just other attachments, which is not very creative. So I guess maybe just like base stat changes, maybe giving it a little bit more recoil, that to the Cooper Carbine and the Automaton, because these things are laser beamed as they are. Just maybe pushing it a little bit harder, maybe decreasing the damage numbers a little bit. But with the Automaton and the Cooper Carbine, that might actually mean you don't get a 3-shot kill anymore, which is not ideal. So again, I just probably add a little bit of recoil to this thing. Maybe sort of rejig some of the fire rates on these weapons, making them a little bit worse than they are at the moment. But again, I feel like most of the assault rifles in the game at the moment are fairly well balanced. They're more clumped towards the middle, like your sort of not meta tiers in terms of our tier list and like a pretty good tier. So I think there's not too much that really does need balancing. But again, I really do think that they could take a look at something like an incendiary grenade as well. The smoke grenade on that thing, like the smoke grenade effect, is probably a bit too big. Maybe last a little bit too long. Maybe keep that burn damage, but get rid of that smoke a little bit faster. Maybe no smoke at all. I just think when people do spawn in something like shipment, it just ruins the game, and every single person has an incendiary grenade. They just chuck it around immediately, and it basically turns into running around through hell. But I guess that's shipment, so it is what it is here. I do think the incendiary grenade could just use a little bit of tuning here, because I think that is a very, very powerful one at the moment. I also wouldn't mind seeing another like kill streak get added to the game. Again, I think that would be quite a nice little addition. Whether it could be like a handheld one, it could be something like another aerial kill streak to fly around and do a pretty decent job. I don't know, it's one of those things where I just want more stuff in the game. I just want more fun things to play with, more videos to make, more content for you guys, because this is one of my favorite things in the world, sort of making videos and talking Call of Duty with you guys. But in terms of the mid-season update, I don't think there's really too much to talk about. I am very, very excited for it, especially with the release of the Welgun, hopefully coming very, very soon. As long as it does look like the grease gun, it should be fairly cool here. I hope these are just very similar and I'm not actually just talking absolute nonsense. I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. Pretty sure. Again, as I said, I'd love to see some new map content, maybe some killstreak stuff, nerfs, weapon balancing and stuff like that would always be good. But instead of just like nerfing every decent gun into the ground, I'd actually love to see some of the worst weapons in the game get a decent buff here to make them just actually compete with some of these other weapons like your Stens and of course your bottom tier assault rifles. So again, thank you very much for watching this one. I do massively appreciate it. Of course, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I am still looking for 6,000 subscribers, and if you could help me achieve that goal, that would be absolutely fantastic. So again, thank you very much for watching, as I said, and hopefully I will see you in the mid-season update, hopefully very soon. Bye!